The Planet Man. The Planet Man. This is the fascinating story of Dantro, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Dantro, the Planet Man, fighting for fair play. In a moment, The Planet Man. You will recall that Billy and Jane were in a stolen scout ship with Marston's pursuing cruiser about to blast them out of space. Through the use of an ancient machine they found in the tunnels beneath Marston's palace, Pat, Slats, and Dantro have managed to project a three-dimensional image of Dantro into Billy's and Jane's fleeing scout ship. Planet Man is just telling them what to do.
You see, Billy, what you're looking at is not really me, but a three-dimensional picture of me, projected through space. I'm actually back with Pat and Slats in the tunnel under Marston's palace. Here, touch me. Yeah, see? Nothing. I'm not solid, so I can't possibly work the controls and fight off that Martian cruiser. You'll have to help.
Okay, I'm ready.
How about you, Jane?
I've never fired a ray gun before, but I'll try.
That's the girl. Now, Billy, we'll let them get close enough for one battery of ray guns to be effective. Billy, you're going to have to listen more carefully than you ever have in your life. And you, Jane, when I tell you, squeeze those two grips and hold them that way. The guns aim and fire automatically, but they have to be activated by hand.
They're getting pretty close.
Good, I'd hope they do that. They're probably trying to make sure they get us with the first salvo. Let them come in a little more and then hit that button on the left. Count 3 aloud and then release it. That should bring us around so that the ray turret can bear right on them. Jane, when you hear Billy say 3, squeeze, and don't let go until I tell you to.
I'll be too scared to let go.
Ready now? I'll count. And when I get to 4, it will be time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now.
1, 2, 3. Okay, Jane, squeeze. I'm squeezing. What's happening? Oh, look at the screen. We got them. We got them right in the middle. This ship's breaking right in the half. It's exploding.
That was one chance in a million. We hit their atomic pile. Well, there's no sense hanging around. There won't be any survivors. You can stop squeezing now, Jane. It's all over. Listen, Billy. I'm going to tell you how to set a course that will take you to Planaria Rex. They'll watch for you and help you land from that end. Just leave your radio on so they can give you instructions.
Don't worry about us. Just tell me what to do and I'll take care of everything.
Well, now the kids are safe, but there's only a little less than an hour before the Admiral will order the fleet to strike at Marston.
That's right. You really think this machine will be able to stop that Dantro?
Well, it will if we can figure it out. I'm beginning to understand how it works. And if I'm right, it will solve the problem perfectly.
What do you mean?
You remember that machine you saw in Planaria Rex? The one that could transmit solid objects through space by breaking them down into energy at one end and assembling them again at the other?
Sure. I was hoping to get the franchise for that, and on Earth, I'd put the post office out of business.
Well, I believe this machine is capable of doing that from a distance. If I have it figured right, it should be able to take Marston's entire space armada and transfer it to any planet. One so far away that would make them centuries to get back, even if they had enough fuel.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's do it.
Not so fast. That's what I think the machine can do. If only I could get someone who had a really good scientific mind to help me.
Someone like my father.
Yeah, he'd be perfect. He sometimes seems to know how a machine works just by looking at it. So, I've got an idea. It sounds kind of crazy, maybe, but...
Don't be ashamed to say it. Sometimes crazy ideas are just what you need. The kind that normally wouldn't occur to anyone.
Yes, Slats, what is it?
Well, see, I was just thinking... With this machine, you were able to send an image of yourself all over space, and you could act just as if you were actually there, only you couldn't really do anything but look and talk. Now, maybe you could somehow get an image of Professor Dara down here in the tunnel, and then he could tell you what he thought, and it'd be just like the two of you were actually working it out together.
Well, that's a wonderful idea, isn't it, Dantro?
Oh, it sounds fine. Let's try it. Slats,
Yeah?
set the screen on Judge Augustus' office. That's where they said they'd wait.
Okay. There. Yeah, look, they're waiting all right, and they look plenty worried.
Here, let me talk to them. Judge Augustus, Professor Darrow, we need your help, Professor. I don't know if it will work, but we're going to try to bring a three-dimensional image of yourself down here into the tunnel.
What do you want me to do?
Just get up and stand in the center of the room. If we succeed, you'll know as soon as we do. Stand still so I can get a good lineup.
Is it working?
I'm not sure, Pat. Let's watch. Well,
Oh, my
hello,
goodness.
Professor.
What do you know? Professor Darrow, fancy meeting you here.
Oh, Father, am I glad to see you.
So this is where you've been hiding out. It doesn't look very comfortable. Well, now, what's the problem? I'm sure you didn't go to all that trouble just to talk about the weather. Let's get to work.
Dantro is trying the impossible with this extraordinary device. He has succeeded in projecting Professor Darrow's image into the tunnel so that the professor could help and then figure out how the machine can be used to break up the Martian Armada. Is such a feat possible? We'll be back in a moment, so level up. When we left Dantro, he, Slats, and Pat were talking to the image of Professor Darrow and trying to get his help in figuring out the energy breakup facilities of the fantastic ancient machine. Outside of Marston's palace, the Martian fleet is ready to take off for the attack on Earth. Marston is directing the operations.
All right, quiet, you fools. You have less than 10 minutes. I have decided not to wait for Professor Darrow. He's had plenty of time to decide. Those two brats will have to take the consequences.
Marston!
Don't bother me now. I have no time for trivialities. If I don't supervise everything personally, nothing ever goes right. I mean to see that this field is cleared in 10 minutes. My ship will take off last. Where is that cruiser that I sent after that traitorous scout crew? Why aren't they back yet? I'll teach them.
Marston, I must tell you.
Well, what do you want? It had better be important.
The Planet Man is down in the tunnel with the Earth Girl and that Slack.
What? Planet Man? Are you certain?
Yes, Marston. They overpowered me.
Are they still there?
Yes, Marston. They are working with some machine of the ancients which they discovered.
Could you lead me to them?
Of course, Marston.
Tara! You take over here on the field. See that the Armada gets off on its way to Earth. Then wait here for me with my ship. Guard, lead the way. This time, Fema and I will take care of Planet Man and his meddling friends. This time, I will personally burn them down. Then there will be no slips, no mistakes. Now hurry, you fool, and be quiet. We must surprise them.
It's hard for me to think without being able to actually touch the different parts of the machine. I think I understand it, though.
It's so different from anything we have. What's your idea?
That bank of controls must be directional. That switch must activate the energy beam that does the carrying. There's the aiming dial, and this is the master control that links them into one function.
You're right. I'm sure you're right. That's the only way it can be. Shall we try it?
Go ahead. I'll keep my fingers crossed.
You'll have to help me, Pat. Professor Darrow, you check us just in case. First, I'll get the Martian Armada on the screen. There. Now, where shall we send them?
How about Pluto?
Well, that's perfect. They'd never get enough fuel to get back from there. Now, Pat, throw the switch. Looks as though we're all set, Professor.
That's it. Now the master control.
Done. And it worked. Look, the field is empty. Not even a scout ship left.
Oh, Father, you were right. The whole Armada gone without a trace. It's as though they never existed, and Earth is safe.
Yeah, Earth and us. I was afraid for a while that Marston was going to have his fun after all.
And so he will, my traitorous friend, and so he will.
What do you want?
Come
I
from?
thought he was
No,
aboard one
I
of the
was
ships.
not aboard any ship, not yet. My fleet is gone, but I am still here. And I shall at least have the satisfaction of burning you down one by one. Professor Darrow, we have never met before. I'm sorry it must be so short an acquaintance, but why are you so silent? Surely the great scientist from Earth can think of a few last words.
Dantro, he thinks my father's really here. He doesn't know it's just a projected image.
You're right. Only Professor Darrow realizes that he may be able to save us. I'm afraid to try to tell him. It might give the whole thing away.
What are you two whispering about? Come.
Why don't you stop torturing us? If you're going to burn us down, get it over with.
I am enjoying this little chat, aren't you? Oh, by the way, Professor Darrow, may I compliment you on your reasoning? I couldn't have done much better. That machine is certainly a wonder. I think I'll send Planaria Rex into the sun with it first.
I didn't realize he'd know about the machine. We must do something.
Oh, yes. I stood here quietly while you worked it all out for me. It's just what I wanted. With it, I will need no one's help. No clumsy, meddling fools to spoil my plans. I can rule the solar system alone. Just FEMA and I. But I am bored with this conversation. I think it's time we said goodbye to our friends, FEMA. One last goodbye.
What a turn of fate. After succeeding in the phenomenal try of putting the entire Marston Armada out of commission, Dantro, Pat, Slats, and the image of Professor Darrow are held at bay by Marston's ray gun. One by one they are to be destroyed. We'll be back in a moment. But first, here is a message that Dantro the Planet Man wants you to hear. Tune in again for more transcribed thrills and adventures. Rocket millions of light years into space with Dantro the Planet Man. The Planet Man. The Planet Man. Planet Man. This is the fascinating story of Dantro, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Dantro the Planet Man fighting for fair play. In a moment, the Planet Man. Marston has surprised the Planet Man, Pat, Slats, and what he believes to be Professor Darrow in the tunnel under his palace. They had just used the ancient machine they found there to transport Marston's entire fleet to a remote planet and end his threat to solar peace. Now, however, things look very bad. As we find them, Marston is gloating over his luck in catching them all and also in finding the machine. But he is unaware that Professor Darrow is really not there. What he really sees is only a three-dimensional image projected by the machine.
Yes, Planet Man, I will save you for last. You can watch me take care of your friends one by one, then it will be your turn to pay the penalty for opposing the will of Marston. With you taken care of, I shall use this machine you have so kindly discovered to teach the League of Planets a lesson. First, I shall send Planaria Rex into the sun, then the other planets one by one will feel the weight of my power. Yes, FEMA, it is just you and I against the solar system. But with this machine, we shall win.
We must do something to prevent his getting this machine. It's more dangerous than his fleet, and there can be no defense against it.
Stop whispering. What does it matter? You are all going to die. I think I've waited long enough. Who will be first?
Even you couldn't be low enough to shoot us down without a chance.
Quiet. I need no lessons from you, Professor. Be quiet or you will be the first.
Marston still doesn't know that that's only an image of my father he's talking to.
I hope Professor Darrow acts. He's our only chance.
Marston, you don't really think we're afraid of you?
I know you're afraid of me. You are not fools, and no sane man wants to die.
I'll show you.
Don't come near me, I'll shoot.
Shoot, then.
I warned you.
Look, the ray went right through him. It's hit the machine. Look out.
Is everyone all right? Dantro, where are you going?
After Marston, he went down into the tunnel.
Oh, be careful. He's armed.
I have the ray gun. I took it from the guard.
We'll wait here for you.
Gosh, he's a brave man. I'd hate to go down there in the dark after that maniac.
If there was some way we could help him.
Oh, I'm not really worried. I think he can outsmart or outray Marston any day in the week.
Well, I hope you're right. Say, we forgot to check the machine.
Not much left to check, I'm afraid. Just look at it.
Maybe it can be rebuilt.
Oh, I doubt it. From the way Dantro talked, no one knows enough about the ancient science to do the job. We were lucky to find it in working order and then be able to figure out how to operate it.
I hate to think what we would have done without it. You know, in a way, maybe it's just as well it has been destroyed. Think of what would have happened if Marston or someone like him ever really got hold of it.
Yeah, it'd be like he said. He and FEMA would rule the solar... Great blazing asteroid.
Oh, what's the matter? What's wrong?
I just thought of something that scares me.
Slats, will you please tell me what you're talking about?
FEMA, that's what I'm talking about, FEMA.
Oh, what about FEMA?
You know what she is, don't you? A Martian flying cobra, one of the deadliest things that ever lived. Her venom just has to touch your skin and you die instantly.
I know all that. What about it?
Sure you know all about it. We all know all about it, but I'll bet you Dantro isn't even thinking about it. He's down there chasing Marston through those dark tunnels, thinking things are pretty even with both of them holding ray guns, and I'll bet you he's never even given a thought to that FEMA. She can see in the dark, too.
Slats, you're right. We must warn Dantro somehow.
Well, there's only one way to do it. Looks like I'm elected.
Are you going after them?
Yeah, there's no other way. Wish me luck.
I do, Slats. Please be careful, but try to reach Dantro in time.
Marston! Marston, do you hear me? You might as well surrender. You can't run forever.
Surrender? That's your answer. Marston will never surrender.
Dantro and Marston are locked in deadly battle. Slats, the engineer, is trying to warn Dantro of FEMA, whose presence gives Marston the edge. We'll be back in a moment, so level up. When we left Dantro, he was pursuing Marston through the treacherous underground tunnels. Marston has fired on Dantro but missed. Slats, in the meantime, has gone to warn Dantro of FEMA, the deadly Martian cobra who is with Marston. Dantro is unaware of FEMA's presence, and he stands vulnerable to attack in the tunnel.
Dantro! Dantro! Where the dickens are they? I can't keep this pace up much longer. I've just got to find them before it's too late. Dantro! Dantro, it's me, Slats!
Only we had some way of knowing whether your trick worked, Professor Darrow. You say you deliberately drew Marston's fire, knowing that his ray would pass right through your image? Do you remember anything else then?
No, Judge, it's just as I told you. The ray must have harmed the machine, for suddenly my whole picture of the room blocked out.
This waiting is so difficult. I gave orders to the fleet to descend at once and send armed search parties into the tunnels. Until we get word from them, we have no way of knowing whether Marston or our friends have won out.
I know how you feel, Judge. After all, Pat is my flesh and blood, and Slats is almost like a son.
Well, at least the two youngsters are safe. They arrived at Planaria Rex just a few hours ago.
Just a little bit further, and we'll have Planet Man where we want him, huh, Beaver? A little bit further, if I remember, there should be a chasm in the floor. Let him think he has me cornered, and then we'll show him our little trick, won't we, Fever?
Marston, I know you're just ahead of me. You might as well surrender.
Ah, here's the edge of the chasm. Now, FEMA, be ready. When I say go, see that you strike straight and true. Planet Man, you have me cornered. I cannot go any further.
If you surrender now, I will see that you get a fair trial.
How do I know I can trust you?
You'll have to take that chance. Throw down your ray gun.
If I do, will you throw yours down also?
No tricks.
I know when I am beaten, Planet Man. You can depend on my word.
Very well. When I say 3, you throw your weapon out on the floor of the tunnel where I can see it. Then I will do the same.
Start counting, Planet Man.
1, 2, 3.
There it goes.
And there is mine.
Now, FEMA, strike.
Dantro, FEMA, look out! Oh, no!
Marston, that was your last bit of treachery. I'm coming after you.
Planet Man, you still live. FEMA, you failed me.
Look out, Marston, the chasm!
No!
Slats certainly was a brave man to throw himself in the way of that flying cobra, FEMA. We'll never forget his heroic deed.
He's that kind of person, Judge Augustus. And you know, when we picked him up, he smiled and said, "That FEMA. He must be stupid if he thinks his poison could kill me. Why, I'm so full of Army snake serum from World War II that it would take Marston's bite to put me out of commission."
He's resting comfortably, sir, and should be up and around very soon. He was delighted to know that Marston's dead because of his brave deed.
Are you sure? We never did find the body.
Well, no one could have survived that fall. No, I think we can forget Marston and his evil. We have more important things to discuss.
That's right. The Council has promised to discuss the entrance of Earth into the League of Planets. Won't that be wonderful, Father? Can you imagine how they'll feel back home when they discover that for years the other planets have been inhabited, watching Earth and waiting for the first spaceship to be launched?
Yes, Pat, it will be quite a surprise. I might even say a shock. That's why I agree with Judge Augustus that we must plan the whole thing carefully. If mistakes are made, it can create a great deal of trouble. You must remember that the Earth is still divided into many factions. If one side or the other sees an opportunity to use this as a means of getting the upper hand, the news of the existence of the League of Planets may bring on a great tragedy.
Do you think we'll be allowed to go back with the first emissaries from Planaria Rex?
It will be most essential that you do. Your father is an interplanetary figure, and his words will be listened to and believed.
Isn't it time we attended the council meeting?
Yes. Let's hurry along.
Alone in the darkness. They think Marston is dead, but they've not heard the last of Marston. Here in this room are machines of the ancients they do not even dream exist. In time, I will learn how to use them. When I do, I will make the solar system pay for my suffering. One by one, the planets shall feel the weight of my anger. One by one. It will take time, but I can wait. Marston can wait.
Marston still lives, alone. But even alone, his presence is dangerous. What can one person like Marston do? What are these machines of which he speaks? And what powers do they hold? We'll be back in a moment. Tune in again for more transcribed thrills and adventures. Rocket millions of light years into space with Dantro, the Planet Man. The Planet Man. The Planet Man.
This is the fascinating story of Dantro, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Dantro, the Planet Man, fighting for fair play. In a moment, the Planet Man. You will recall that our friends were safe at last back on Planaria Rex after successfully thwarting Marston's plans to conquer the Earth. They and Dantro, the Planet Man, believe Marston to be dead, victim of his own evil. But though badly wounded, he is alive, planning revenge. Flat, who in saving the Planet Man's life was himself poisoned by FEMA, Marston's flying cobra, is recovering. We find Billy and Jane out in space aboard a scout ship of the League of Planets Patrol.
1,000 miles a minute. The kids back on Earth could see us now. Oh, Billy, isn't it exciting? Captain Alstar, can you hear me? When can I take the controls?
In a minute now, Billy. I'll switch controls up to forward con. We'll be clear of the regular space lanes by then. I wouldn't want to run into the Mars Express.
You think I'll be able to solo soon? Planet Man promised me I'd pilot a ship alone when I passed all the tests. Oh, Billy, you're in such a hurry. Well, you've only taken lessons for a few days. What are you talking about? I've had 10 lessons. That still doesn't make you a pilot. Like you know. Captain All-Star says I'm a natural spaceman. Tell her, Captain.
That's right, Jane. Billy's one of those rare people whose coordination is perfect for space.
See, that's how much you know. That still doesn't mean you haven't anything to learn. I've been watching, and it's pretty complicated.
Jane's got a point there, Billy. You can take over now if you're ready.
Just watch me. Now, Billy, be careful. Billy, what's happening? Gee whiz, will you stop it? Gosh, Captain All-Star, aren't girls awful? Always worrying. I know what I'm doing.
He's doing fine, Jane. But Billy, keep steady on that accelerator. You're safer out here than a lot of other places you've been. We're 200,000 miles out with nothing but space around us.
She's not really scared. She always talks like that. But when there's trouble, you can count on her. Am I on a course, Captain?
Right on the beam, Billy. Just hold it where it is. Now, I'd like to ask you a few questions and see how well you remember what you've learned.
Shoot.
How can I tell whether we're on course or not?
Well, that's easy by checking the spot. That thing over there. The statilinear directional coordinates.
Good for you, Jane. That's tougher to pronounce than to use. How does it work, Billy?
Well, one dial is set for our course, like this. And the other on the automatic signals that are broadcast from the space station. This way. Now, if the two lines on the screen are exactly parallel, we're on course, right?
Couldn't be righter. Now, how about that red switch on your left? What's it for? And let's see how you use it.
That's the four-screen control. When you pull it, the ship is surrounded completely by a defensive screen. It's in case we're attacked or a meteor or something comes too close. What?
Good boy, Billy. Okay, turn it off. Let's head back for Planaria Rex now, Billy. It's time we were heading in.
Yes, sir. Let me hit that port accelerator. Can I land the ship today? Oh, there you go again, trying to do everything at once.
I promised Billy he could bring us in today. Just remember what we've been practicing, Billy, and you'll be okay.
Don't worry. I know the routine by heart. I'm heading in.
This is Spaceport, Planaria Rex, calling freighter Centurion of Mercury. Land in Area 5, all clear for you. Hello, Miss Darrow. Oh, the nicest thing that's happened here all day. Can I show you around the control tower?
Oh, thank you, Lieutenant, but I'm afraid I'm in a bit of a hurry. Have Billy and Jane landed yet?
No, but they're due any minute now. Can't I help you?
Well, that's nice of you, but I'm afraid not. I have some important news for them.
I can reach them over the communicator beam if you like.
Oh, no, it can wait. Besides, Billy's got enough to think about flying that scout.
Yes, I guess you're right. He's making his first landing today.
Landing? Well, is it safe?
Perfectly safe. Billy's flying like a veteran. Captain All-Star, our top pilot's been with him. He says Billy's one of the best students he's had. Don't worry.
Hello, Spaceport Planaria Rex. This is Captain All-Star. My scout is coming in. Request area for landing.
All clear, Captain. Take Area 4.
Roger and out.
It's over there, Miss Darrow. You'll get a good view from up here on the control tower deck. Don't be surprised at what you see.
Well, there's nothing wrong, is there?
No, not at all. The first time anyone lands one of those scouts, they get a real jolt.
Oh.
It's hard to gauge their speed exactly, and it takes practice to come in just right.
Well, they won't crash or anything.
Not a chance. All our ships are equipped with auto landing gear.
Auto what?
It's a beam that cuts in automatically when they come down too fast. It acts like a kind of bumper. They'll bounce a little, but it's perfectly safe. You'd have seen me bounce on my first landing.
It should be there. I always get kind of worried knowing Planaria Rex is so close and not being able to see it. Captain, are you back there?
Yes, Billy. When the control tower gives us an area, you'll be able to see it on the screen.
Oh, they know we're coming.
We'll call in. As a matter of fact, Billy, you'd better do it now.
Jack. Hello, Darrow calling Spaceport, Planaria Rex. Darrow calling Planaria Rex. Can you read me? Come in.
Spaceport, Planaria Rex. Come in, Pilot Darrow.
Oh, boy, Pilot Darrow, hear that, Jane?
Better get your landing clearance, Billy.
Oh, gosh, I forgot. Darrow to Spaceport, are we clear to land?
Spaceport to Darrow. You're clear to land. Take Area 4. Good luck.
Thanks.
Now watch the visa screen there.
It's like magic. First there's nothing, and then all of a sudden, bingo! Planaria Rex. There's the spaceport. Area 4 is that one, isn't it?
Check, Billy. It's all yours. Take her in.
Aren't we going in a little fast, Captain? Billy, oh my goodness!
Billy is heading in for his first landing. Is his speed too fast, or is Jane just being too overcautious with Billy? We'll be back in a moment. So, level off. When we left Billy and Jane, they were in a scout spaceship, heading into a landing at the Planaria Rex spaceport, this being Billy's solo landing. Waiting for them is Pat, who is accompanied by a lieutenant of the League of Planets squadron. The lieutenant is talking.
Here they come, Miss Darrow. See over there?
He's really traveling. Are you sure there's no danger?
Not at all, but they're due for a surprise. Watch.
Oh, no. Why, he bounced 100 feet into the air. But there he goes again.
Oh, they're down now.
Oh, I'm going over to the area.
Come on, I'll run you over in my jet ski.
Gosh, what happened?
Just came in a little too fast, that's all. There wasn't any danger, and the best way to learn is to bounce a few times.
See, Smarty, I told you don't know everything. Oh, you heard what the captain said. It could have happened to anybody. Come on, let's get back and see what's happening to Pat and Danto. So long, Captain. Thanks. Goodbye, Captain All-Star.
Bye, kids, and happy landing.
Billy, Jane, what's up, Pat? In 6 hours, we leave for Venus. Venus? You see, we're going to make a tour of all the members of the League of Planets. You mean we'll be like ambassadors from Earth?
Mm-hmm, that's exactly it. None of the people in the League of Planets has ever seen anyone from Earth.
Did you say we leave in 6 hours?
Yes, and we'll have to hurry.
Is the professor going?
No, he's decided to stay here on Planaria Rex and work in the laboratories with the scientists.
I guess Slants can't go.
Oh, not yet. In a couple of weeks, he'll be up and around. He'll join us then. Come on.
Well, Judge Augustus, we leave in an hour. Antro, I wanted to be sure you realize how important this trip is. I know everyone will like Pat, Billy, and Jane, but we don't want anything unforeseen to happen. They'll make friends with everyone, I'm sure. That's not what I'm worried about. Marston had friends on all the planets, and they're still very active. To keep Earth out of the League of Planets, they might even resort to violence. So be prepared for anything.
A whole new world of adventure seems to be in store for Billy, Jane, and Pat as they prepare for their interplanetary tour. What thrills lie ahead? We'll be back in a moment, but first, here is a message that Danto the Planet Man wants you to hear. Tune in again for more transcribed thrills and adventures. Rocket millions of light years into space with Danto, the Planet Man. The Planet Man. The Planet Man. This This is the fascinating story of Danto, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Danto, the Planet Man, fighting for fair play. In a moment, the Planet Man. You will remember that Billy, Jane, and Pat Darrow were about to take off from Planaria Rex with Danto, the Planet Man, for Venus. They are starting on a goodwill tour of the members in the League of Planets. Judge Augustus warned Danto that although Marston's power was destroyed, his collaborators on the planets were still a threat to the Earth people, that they might even resort to violence in their determination to keep Earth from becoming a member of the League. We find our party preparing for their blast-off from a spaceport on Planaria Rex.
In 5 minutes or so, we'll blast off of Venus. Are you excited, Billy?
Little. Listen to him a little, he says. Well, he's been practically jumping up and down for the last 4 hours.
You've been excited yourself, Phil. Talk about me.
I'm afraid we don't know an awful lot about Venus, Danto.
Well, it isn't exactly Earth, you know. The clouds that shroud the planet are dust.
I thought they were like the ones back home. You know, water vapor.
No, they're dust. As a matter of fact, the surface of the planet is almost covered with dust. The Venusians have evolved a culture that's quite different from any other planet in the League. They even look different, as you know. Their noses, for instance. You've noticed how big they are, that's because of the dust. They have a kind of filter that's part of their bodies that enables them to breathe.
Oh, I wondered about that. And about the extra eyelid they seem to have. It's transparent. I guess that's to protect their eyes from the dust.
Yes, exactly, Pat.
But do they live out in the middle of the dust all the time? Doesn't it get into their food and everything?
Well, one time they did. But for centuries, they've lived under tremendous transparent domes. Their cities are covered by them. We'll be quite comfortable inside them.
Won't we ever go outside?
Oh, yes, but when we do, we'll have to wear respirators to filter out the dust.
I couldn't help laughing when I first saw the Venusian ambassador's big nose. I guess nature knows what she's doing.
They'll have the laugh on us with our respirators.
Well, they're much too polite to laugh. But you're right about nature. You'll find as we travel around that some of the races in the League of Planets will look pretty funny to you. But there's always a good reason for it. They've each adapted to the environment of the place they live. That's why even the people back on your Earth are different.
Isn't it getting close to blast-off time?
Oh, just about, Billy. I want to give the ship a quick check, though, before we go up. That's funny.
What's funny?
I may be just imagining things, but the controls don't feel right to me. Particularly the counter-gravity stabilizer.
Gee, you don't think it's busted, do you? Will it delay our trip?
Not busted, Billy. Broken.
Gee whiz, what's the difference? You know what I mean. Will it, Danto? Will it delay us?
Don't distract him, Billy.
Oh, that's all right. After all, Billy wants to learn. The pilot needs to know his ship.
Sure, you women don't understand these mechanical things. Now, what seems to be the trouble?
Oh, I'm afraid it's a little too technical even for you, Billy. I better call the flight engineer. I checked the entire ship with him myself before, but I'll ask him to go over this counter-gravity stabilizer again. Flight engineer, report to control deck at once.
Flight engineer Mako, sir. What's up?
Well, it's probably nothing, but the controls don't seem to respond quite right.
Well, we checked them together.
Can you give them a quick once-over just for luck?
Well, of course, sir.
Can I help? I'm almost a pilot, you know.
I know. I've been hearing about you. Sure, you can hold these tools and hand them to me as I need them.
How many people are there on Venus, Danto?
About 1 billion people, Jane.
Any animals?
Oh, of course. And like the Venusians, they've all adapted themselves to the dust. There's another inhabitant of Venus that's almost a legend. Very few of them have ever been seen. There isn't even a picture of one, and most Venusians doubt that they exist.
He sounds mysterious. What are they?
Well, the Venusians call them dusties. They're almost humanoid in appearance from the stories I've heard. No one really knows much about them, but they've been credited with almost magical powers.
Do you believe that?
I'm afraid I don't know what to believe, Jane. I've traveled around the solar system and seen too many unbelievable things to be sure of anything. There's certainly no evidence to support that belief, though. It's probably just a sort of legend more than anything else. Oh, any luck, Mako?
Well, nothing wrong so far, sir.
Have you checked the stabilizer?
I'm just going over it now. Seems okay. Wait a minute. Billy, hand me that round tube. It can't be.
Trouble?
I'm afraid so. I'm not sure yet, but something isn't the way it should be here.
You better go over it carefully.
Don't worry, sir, I will. Hand me that scanner, Billy.
Can it be serious? I mean, if it didn't work right?
Serious enough to end our trip before we had hardly gotten started. Without the stabilizer, we'd never clear the gravity field of Planaria Rex. It could make us crash if it were badly enough warped.
Jumping sun toads, this is awful.
Did I give you the wrong tool?
No, the tool's all right, but something else is awfully wrong. Well, will you come over to the engineering maintenance for a moment, sir? I'd like to talk to you.
Can I come?
You better stay here with the tools, Billy. It's pretty technical anyhow. And I've got to look at some relay charts. I'll explain it to you when I get back. What's the trouble?
Well, I didn't want to tell you in front of the kids and Miss Darrow, so there's no sense worrying them. But that gravity stabilizer is absolutely useless. You wouldn't get 2 miles off Planaria Rex. You'd come down like a meteor.
Well, you could have told me in front of them they're not the kind that get frightened easily.
That's not why I asked you to step out. That equipment is useless. And it's no accident.
Hmm? What do you mean?
It's been tampered with.
Tampered with? Are you sure?
You went over it with me, sir. It was in perfect shape then.
But are you sure it's been deliberately damaged?
The way it is, it couldn't have been an accident. The connections have been switched, and the tube shorted. Whoever did it knew exactly what he was doing. You wouldn't have had a chance of landing without a crash.
You'd better check the rest of the controls. I'll make some excuse to Miss Arrow and the kids. And check it thoroughly.
Don't worry, I'll go over everything with a micro scanner.
There's trouble ahead for the League of Planets group before they even take off on their goodwill trip. Who is behind this sabotage? We'll be back in a moment. So level up. When we left Danto, he was informed by the flight engineer that the proposed interplanetary goodwill spaceship, the Planeteer, had been sabotaged. Now we find Danto talking with Billy, Jane, and Pat in the control cabin, but not letting on to what is really wrong.
Do you think we'll make it this time, Danto?
Well, I think so, Billy. What happened before was just one of those accidents. It should teach you a good lesson, though. Always check your ship before you take it up. Even the best technicians slip sometimes, and it's your life that's at stake, and sometimes others.
You bet I will. Can I stand here a while you blast off?
Oh, me too. You may be in the way.
Oh, it's all right, Pat. They're no trouble at all, and not very complicated.
I keep forgetting how different from the old Constitution these ships are. No dangerous acceleration, no recoil couches. It's almost like going up in an elevator.
There goes the signal to blast off.
Right, Billy. Here we go.
Boy, this ship really travels. Can I take over the controls room?
Maybe not this trip, Billy. Don't worry, you'll have a lot of chance to be traveling a lot for a while now. We'll be out of these dust clouds in a minute, and then you'll be able to take your first look at Venus.
I've always thought that the clouds were water vapor, like the clouds on Earth.
Well, if they were, Venus would be a lot better off. As it is, they have ways that will seem quite strange to you. Oh, but you'll see it yourself in a little while now. There, now you can see the planet.
Why, it looks like a big desert. Hey, what's that thing down there? It looks like a big bubble.
That's Venusport. I told you their cities were covered with tremendous domes to keep out the dust storms.
But how do we get in?
Well, they have locks like the airlocks on a spaceship. You go through one door, which seals, and then we can go through the second, through to the city itself.
Do they know we're coming?
Well, I've already signaled ahead. You see that directional arrow? If we keep it lined up with the beam, we will come right onto the port.
I see it. It's that round opening.
Yeah, that's right. We'll have to slow down.
There, a second door ahead of us now. What's opening?
The outer door must be closed then. Here we go.
See the landing field just below us.
Yes, and there's a delegation waiting for us to land. They'll probably make a speech. Yes, this is quite an event for Venus. Not often they have visitors from the other planets.
On behalf of the people of Venus, I welcome you to Venusport. Our planet is yours.
Do you think he means it? Be quiet, Billy. is a very serious occasion.
As I grasp the hands of each of you from Earth, may it be a symbol of the future unity for the people of Venus and the people of your home planet.
The first leg on the interplanetary goodwill tour has been made without incident, except for the attempted sabotage of the Planeteer at takeoff. Now on the planet Venus, the planet of dust, the Earth people and Danto are to be the most honored guests in many a century. We'll be back in a moment, but first, here is a message the Planet Man wants you to hear. Tune in again for more transcribed thrills and adventures. Rocket millions of light years into space with Dan Troll, the Planet Man. The Planet Man. The Planet Man. This is the fascinating story of Danto, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Danto, the Planet Man, fighting for fair play. In a moment, the Planet Man. When we left our friends Pat, Billy, and Jane Darrow, they and Danto the Planet Man had landed at Venusport. As the first people from Earth to visit that planet, they were welcomed most cordially. We find Billy, Pat, and Jane discussing the wonderful reception that was given in their honor.
Brother, that was some banquet. You said it. What was it we ate? Gosh, I don't know. Do you know, Pat?
I'm a little bit afraid to ask. Didn't you like the cake?
Oh, sure, it was swell.
Oh, come in.
Danto, when are we leaving? Where are we going?
I'll tell you all about it in a minute. You packed, Pat?
Oh, just about. A few little odds and ends, but it'll only take a minute.
Oh, fine. I just came from the office of the League of Planets here on Venus. They wanted me to be sure and commend all of you on the way you've been conducting yourselves. Particularly you two, Billy and Jane. The ambassador thought you got along wonderfully at the party the vice regent of Venus gave for you.
Gosh, we didn't do anything special. They were such nice people. It was almost like our friends on Earth.
Well, just the same, you were both swell.
You know, Danto, sometimes I think you do it deliberately.
Hmm?
You know, we're all standing here wondering when we're leaving and where we go next. Is it a secret?
Yeah, what's the mystery?
No mystery at all. I didn't mean to keep you guessing. Well, it's just that I've got a lot on my mind. I was going over the route with the convoy commander.
Convoy commander? Are we going by boat? Silly, how could we go by boat? There's no water.
No boat, Billy.
Oh, Danto, what is this all about?
I'm sorry, Pat. Well, here's the story. We leave here in about half an hour and travel in convoy by dust buggy to Galanta.
What's a dust buggy? Where's Galanta?
Well, a dust buggy is like, well, I guess back on Earth you'd call it a sled. It has an enclosed cabin to keep out the dust. It's driven by jets along the tops of the dust the way a sled goes over the snow. Galanta is the biggest city here on Venus. It's about 600 miles from Venusport.
Couldn't we go by air?
Well, we could, but I thought you might like to see something of Venus. It'll take a little longer this way, but you would get a good look at the countryside. The buggy's built to take all kinds of conditions. It will be part of a convoy.
It sounds exciting.
Yes, it will be. I'll never forget the first time I traveled across Venus. An experience you'll never forget. Pat, can I talk to you a minute?
Oh, certainly. Come into my room.
You get your things together, kids. We'll be right back. I wanted to talk to you about something serious, and I just assumed Billy and Jane didn't hear. Nothing may happen, but I think you ought to be aware that everyone on Venus isn't friendly.
I thought the Venusians were on our
Well,
side.
they are, don't misunderstand me. 99% of them are anxious for Earth to join the League, but Marston had allies here on Venus. As a matter of fact, just before we left Lynn Area Rex, Judge Augustus warned me to be careful.
Then there was something really wrong with the ship after all, wasn't there?
I'm afraid there was. I didn't want to frighten you, so I pretended it was an accident. But it was sabotage. There's no question about it, and I'm afraid it's only the beginning.
Do you think they'll really try to hurt us?
Well, I'm afraid they may, Pat. After all, if we had taken off with the ship the way it was, we'd have all been killed. If they're willing to go that far, they'll stop at nothing. That's why I felt I'd better tell you the truth so that you'd be on your toes.
Well, it's not myself I'm worried about, but the kids are my responsibility. I certainly wouldn't want anything to happen to them.
Believe me, Pat, nothing's going to happen if I can help it. But there's no harm in being prepared. Well, we'd better get moving. Convoy will be waiting for us. Come on, kids. Let's go.
A trip through the Venus dust land. That in itself is exciting. But what possible danger may face Dancel, Pat, Billy, and James as they embark on this Venusian convoy trip? We'll be back in a moment. So, level up. When we left Dancel, Pat, and the two kids, Billy and James, they were about to leave Venusport for an overland trip to Galanta, which would take them over the treacherous Venus dust. As we find them now, they are speeding along in a Venusian dust buggy, and the ride is apparently full of thrills.
Boy, Billy, isn't this wonderful? It's like a roller coaster back on Earth. Here comes another hill. Hang on. Woo! Boy, what a ride!
I told you you'd enjoy this. We gone by air, you'd have missed all the fun.
Oh, it is exciting, but I can't help but wonder what would happen if our dust buggy conked out.
Don't worry, that's why we travel in convoy. We just transfer to one of the other buggies. If we lost the convoy, we could use our communicator, and they'd send out a rescue party from Venusport.
Well, I'm not really worried, but that landscape out there is a little frightening. I never realized there could be so much dust anywhere.
Well, it's hundreds of feet deep, Pat. And these hills are moving all the time, like sand in your deserts back on Earth.
Gosh, you know almost as much about Earth as we do.
Well, you know, we've been watching Earth for years with the cosmic communicator. I learned a lot about your planet and its people.
That's right, I'd forgotten. I wish we had the communicator here now. I'd like to see what's going on in the sports world. You and your old sport. Look out there, we'll never see anything like that on Earth.
Maybe when we get back to Planaria Rex, you can teach us some games.
Boy, that's an idea. We could have games and maybe even have a League of Planets Olympics like the ones on Earth. And Judge Augustus could be an official. I bet he'd love that, wouldn't he, Dan?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. They have a game here on Venus I think you'd like. Maybe when we get to Galanta, you can watch a game. It's called Jetto.
How do they play it?
With one-man jets and a ball that's anti-gravity so it floats in the air.
Gosh, it sounds exciting. You think we'll run into a dust storm?
Oh, let's hope not. Once you've been in one, you never want to see another. Now, we're safe enough in the buggy. It's built to travel right through storms. But with the wind blowing at 100 miles an hour, this dust is like a million sharp needles. If you were outside without protection, it would strip your clothes off in a second, and the rest of you, too, for that matter.
Let's not even talk about it. It gives me the shivers. You always get scared. Maybe I do, but that doesn't stop me.
That's right, James. Sometimes I think you pretend to be scared to make Billy feel brave.
That's a secret between us women. You women are all alike, always making fun of a guy.
Yes, Billy, but they are nice to have around.
Oh, I guess so. Only sometimes Jane talks too much.
What's that?
Where?
Over there on the left, way out there. See? It looks like a cloud or something.
I see it all right. Jane, it looks like you're going to find out what a dust storm is like.
Is that what it is? Seems so far away.
At the speed it's traveling, it'll be here within a few minutes. We're in for a little rough weather. Better buckle those safety belts.
Gosh, this is really something.
Hadn't we better pull a little closer to the convoy?
That's a good idea. We'll switch on our lights, too, the way they have, so we can see each other through the storm.
May keep out the wind and the dust, but it doesn't keep out the noise.
I'm afraid they're built for safety and speed, not for comfort. But don't be afraid. At the rate we're traveling, we should be out of the storm quickly enough.
It's a good thing the rest of the convoy put on their lights. Pitch black outside. I could just barely make them out.
We'll stick close to them. They know the way. You all okay?
Sure, we're fine. What happened?
I'm not sure. I'll try and start the jets again.
Boy, that had me worried for a minute.
That must have been the dust. Some of it must have gotten through the filters into the engine.
Look, there's one of the convoy. They dropped back to see if we were okay. They're pulling up right alongside of us.
I'll signal them ahead. Everything's fine now.
There they go. Can you see them?
Don't worry, I'll follow right behind until we catch up with the rest of the convoy.
Pulling away from us?
Our jets still aren't working right. I can't understand it. These buggies are built for this kind of weather. Well, there it goes again.
Can't you get it started?
I'm afraid we're stuck.
Will it come back for us again?
They'll try, but in this storm, they'll never find us.
What'll happen?
Well, we'll just use our communicator and call for help. They'll be able to get direction from our radar beam and find us even if the dust storm is still on. Hello, Planet Man calling Venusport. Planet Man calling Venusport. Hello, Venusport. Venusport, do you hear me? This is Planet Man calling Venusport. Come in, Venusport.
No answer.
Hello, Venusport. Come in, Venusport. This is Planet Man calling Venusport.
Maybe something's happened to our communicator. God, can't you think it's something pleasant?
Pleasant or not, I'm afraid Jane's right. The communicator isn't working.
What do we do now?
Well, we're safe enough here in the buggy. We'll just sit out the storm, and then I'll send up a few flares. They'll be looking for us, and somebody is sure to notice. We'll just sit tight until they do.
Well, our friends seem to have become the victims of a Venusian dust storm. Or has the work of some saboteurs hit its mark? Will the rest of the convoy discover the missing dust buggy soon? What manner of danger lies ahead for Danzo and his friends? We'll be back in a moment. But first, here is a message the Planet Man wants you to hear. Tune in again for more transcribed thrills and adventures. Rocket millions of light years into space with Danzo, the Planet Man. The Planet Man. The Planet Man. This is the fascinating story of Danzo, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Danzo, the Planet Man, fighting for fair play. In a moment, the Planet Man. You will remember Billy, Jane, and Pat Darrow and Danzo, the Planet Man, were marooned on Venus amidst a sea of dust when their dust buggy broke down during a terrible storm. With their communicator not working, they have been unable to do more than sit and wait for the storm to blow itself out.
Have you figured out what's wrong with the communicator yet, Danzo?
Not yet, Billy. I can't understand how it could have gone out. This type of equipment is built to take a pounding for years without trouble.
Maybe it needs a tube or something.
Not this set. They're tubeless. That's what makes them so sturdy.
Listen to that wind. Gonna have to listen to it. I can almost feel it through the buggy. That plastic shield around us must really be strong. How fast do you think it's blowing out there?
Well, at least 200 miles an hour, maybe more.
Gosh. Have you found the trouble yet?
Yes, I found it.
Can't you fix it?
Not without new parts. And there aren't any extras aboard.
New parts? Is it that bad?
Pat, you remember what I told you just before we left Venusport?
You mean about the ship?
That's right. Well, it looks like this is more of the same.
More of the same? Same what?
I'm going to tell them, Pat.
I guess you better. What's going on?
Remember the trouble we had with the ship before we left Planaria Rex?
I remember. It was something with the counter-gravity thing.
Yes, the counter-gravity stabilizer. It was deliberately sabotaged. And the same thing has happened to this communicator. And the dust buggy, too, I think. It's as I told Pat at Venusport. Marston is gone, but his collaborators are still at work trying to achieve what he failed to do.
But what good does it do them to strand us out here? Sooner or later, a search party will find us and take us back to Venusport.
You're absolutely right, Jane, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to tell you and Billy the whole story. I'm afraid that the dirty work isn't over.
Do you think someone in the convoy was in on it?
Well, we'll probably never find out for sure who sabotaged our buggy and communicator. Say, we've been so busy talking, I didn't even notice that the storm's letting up. I hope what I've told you doesn't frighten you.
You should know us better than that by now. Besides, we're all stuck together. We can take care of anything.
Atta boy, Billy. That's the way to talk.
Hello, Venusport. Secret Channel 7 Zeptar. This is Noki reporting from Goodwill Tour Convoy. Mission complete. Dantro's dust buggy stopped as planned. Convoy did not stop to find them in dust storm. We'll proceed with Operation Pickup. Should have the Earth people and Dantro as prisoners shortly. Keep you advised. Signing off.
Dantro, how about going outside? The storm's over. Maybe we can fix the jets on the buggy.
That's one thing we mustn't even try, Billy. That dust is like powder, and in this part of the desert, it's hundreds of feet thick. Without special shoes, you'd sink out of sight in a second. That's why the buggies have wide, flat runners like a sled so that they can coast along on top of the dust.
I bet if we had a pair of snowshoes, we could walk on it.
Well, as a matter of fact, the Venusians wear special dust walkers that look almost exactly like snowshoes. There aren't any on the buggy. I've already looked.
What are we going to do now? Just sit here and wait?
No, I'm going to climb to the top of the buggy and send up a couple of flares before it gets light. May help them find us.
But won't it help who's ever trying to get rid of us, too?
Well, we'll just have to take that chance. Here, hold this flare gun, and when I get up on top of the buggy, hand it to me.
Be careful.
Don't worry, I will.
Dantro, look out!
It's all right, Billy. Hand me the flare gun. Just reach it up through the doorway there.
There it is.
Now, I've got it.
Why doesn't he send up a flare? Give him time. He's coming back down again. What's the matter, Dantro? Why didn't you send up a flare?
Well, that does it. The flare gun's been tampered with, too.
Well, isn't there anything we can do? Maybe we can light a fire.
It'd be a good idea if we had something to burn, but everything in the buggy is fireproof and there's nothing else but dust for hundreds of miles. No, I'm afraid we'll just have to sit here until it gets light and hope the rescue party finds us then.
A wait for help in a sea of dust is a very long time. Sometimes it never comes. What will face our friends now? We'll be back in a moment, so level up. When we left Dantro, Pat, and the kids, Billy and Jane, they were waiting for help in their sabotaged dust buggy. They were hoping a Venusian rescue party would shortly pick them up. As we find them now, they are in their dust buggy staring out at the vast reaches of the shifting mountains of dust.
Jane, what are you looking at? I was sure I saw something moving out there.
Where?
Out that way. It looked almost like somebody standing. It's gone now.
I'm afraid it was your imagination, Jane. Even in this light, you can see for miles. There's nothing there now.
Ah, she's just seeing things.
Well, if she's seeing things, so am I. Look out there.
You're right. I can see it, too. Looks like some kind of an animal or something's coming towards us. There's some more of them here on the other side. Look.
What is it, Dantro? Do you know?
Well, I'm not sure. It's hard to see the way they're hunched over, but I think... Oh, it can't be.
It can't be what?
Remember I was telling you about the dusters?
Sure. You said nobody was sure if they really existed or not.
Well, I'm afraid they do exist, and what's more, they're all around the dust buggy.
We're surrounded. They seem to be coming in closer now. Do you think they'll attack us?
I don't understand this at all. There's little known about them, but I've never heard of them attacking.
They look so strange. In some ways, they look humanoid, and in others, almost like some kind of reptile.
Gee, you're right. They're still not close enough to see very clearly, but their skin seems to be scaly, almost like an alligator. Look at their feet. They're wearing dust suits, all right, but looks like it's part of their body. I guess that's how they can walk on the dust without sinking in.
They keep coming closer and closer. I wonder what they're going to do. Well, we should know in a couple of seconds. They're almost up to the buggy.
What's that noise?
Well, it must be from those tremendous feet moving through the dust.
Well, anyhow, they can't bite it. Why not? Look, they hardly have any mouths at all. Just a tiny little hole. Yes, but their noses make up for it. They're bigger than the Venusians.
You're touching the ship on this side.
Look, they're working one of the spears in through the crack of the port.
Stand back, Billy. Have to get over there.
There's another one now, on the other side.
Get back away from the port, Billy. Looks like they're going to force it open. They've split it already.
There it goes.
Hello, Venusport, Secret Channel 7 Zeptar. This is Noki. Convoy just arrived Galanta. We'll delay them on Dantro's rescue. Baca and I heading out to Dantro Stall's dust buggy. Keep you advised. Signing out.
Why don't you use your ray gun, Dantro?
I don't dare. I might get a few of them, but not enough to matter. Besides, we still aren't sure they mean to harm us.
Looks like one of them is trying to climb in through the port. Gosh, look at that skin. It's just like an alligator. Bet they can walk through a dust storm and not even feel it.
I guess that's what it's for.
He's coming in all right.
He certainly is an ugly-looking specimen.
Right now, I'm much more concerned with what he wants, not what he looks like.
He's just standing there looking at us. Why don't you try and talk to him, Dantro?
I don't think it'll do any good, Billy. They haven't any ears.
Do you think they can communicate with each other?
Maybe. Somehow they must, or they couldn't organize an attack as they did this one.
They must be pretty smart.
Maybe, but remember, the ants back on Earth and a lot of other insects, too. And wolves, they hunt in packs and yet have no means of communication.
Wolves. You don't think these dusters are like wolves, do you, Pat?
Oh, of course not, Jane.
Here comes another one through the port. Hey, and there's one right behind
They're coming toward us.
Just stay where you are. Don't move.
Hey, one of them has hold of my arm. Get your hands off of
Don't
me.
fight them, Billy. Jane, it won't do any good. We're badly outnumbered.
Hey, he's got a rope. He's going to tie me up. Hey, what do I do? Just stand here?
I'm afraid we have no choice. If we fight back, we may just arouse them. As it is, we still don't know what their plans are.
Now they're tying me up, too.
I guess you're right about their not being able to hear or speak. They aren't making a sound.
Here comes another one through the port. What's he carrying?
Some kind of a cloth. Hey, what's he doing with it? Hey, Jane, are you all right? Dantro!
Don't be afraid, Jane. They're just going to wrap us in this cloth.
Don't worry, kid. Just don't worry. Hey, they're tearing us out of the buggy. Ow! That hurt! What were you doing? Where you bang my ear right against the door? You be careful, you walking alligator. Keep calm, kid.
That's the stuff. At least we can talk. That way we can keep track of each other.
They're tearing us somewhere, aren't they?
That's right, they are.
Back to their village, do you think?
There's no telling, Billy. All we can do is wait and see.
It seems the dusters are taking Dantro and the Earth people to some prearranged spot. Where is this place? And why are our friends being taken there? We'll be back in a moment, but first, here is a message the Planet Man wants you to hear. Tune in again for more transcribed thrills and adventures. Rocket millions of light years into space with Dantro, the Planet Man. The Planet Man. The Planet Man. This is the fascinating story of Dantro, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization. the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Dantro the Planet Man fighting for fair play. In a moment, the Planet Man. You will recall that the Earth people, Billy, Jane, and Pat Darrow, and their alive from Planaria Rex, Dantro the Planet Man, have been captured by the almost legendary dusters of Venus. Bound and wrapped in cloth, they are being carried across the dust deserts of Venus.
Billy, how are you?
Being carried upside down with a sheet around me isn't an idea of comfort.
Jane?
I'm okay.
Pat?
All present and accounted for, Dantro. Are you all right?
Fine.
I sure wish I knew where we were going. Well, at least they're keeping us together. Where do you think they live?
I may have some way of burrowing into the dust. Perhaps they've learned to camouflage their den.
Den?
I don't mean it the way it sounds, Billy, but wherever it is they live, I don't believe they're intelligent enough to communicate or cooperate with others.
Well, then how do they know where to find us? Yes, that's what I was wondering.
Well, this might be just a wandering pack. Perhaps they just stumbled on the buggy in the desert.
I don't think so. They came prepared. Besides, what would they want with us, and why did they bother with us? Have you ever heard of them taking anyone before?
No.
That means if they did, no one ever lived to tell about it.
It may not be that, Billy. There may be some special reason why they wanted us.
Special reason? What do you mean?
Oh, there's no sense in guessing. We'll find out shortly. Notice the difference in sound?
Yeah, what is it?
We seem to have left the dust of the desert. Sounds and feels as if the dusters were walking on earth or rocks.
Hey, something feels funny. It's as if they were going downhill.
That's right. Oh, you notice how our voices seem to echo?
Yeah, what does that mean?
We must be in a tunnel or a cave of some kind.
And the air is much cooler, too. We should find out soon what this is all about. Have they gone? Where are we?
I don't know. They just put us down and left. I heard a door close. They must be in a room of some kind.
Oh, well, my hands are a little loose. Can you get them free? I'm trying.
Move down a little so I can reach the ropes with my fingers.
Got them?
Yep, I think so.
That's it. They're getting looser. There. Now, if I can only get this blanket or whatever it is wrapped around me off.
Where are we? Can you see?
See? Blacker than it was when I had the thing over my head. We're in the dark somewhere. But wait, I'll untie it so you can see for yourself.
Untie Pat first, and then she can untie Jane while you set me free.
Is that over here? Okay, I'll have you loose in a minute. There, that's it.
Oh, never mind. I can do the rest myself. You better untie Dantro.
Right.
That's fine, Billy.
Gosh, I'm glad to get these ropes off. I don't mind telling you my wrists and ankles are rubbed raw.
Well, if the dusters hadn't wrapped that cloth around us, there would be a lot of you rubbed raw.
What do you mean?
Didn't you notice their hide?
Sure, it was like an alligator.
Did you touch it?
I did when they were tying us up. It's as hard as rock, and it's rough enough to sharpen a knife on. The way they were carrying us, it would have rubbed right through our clothes.
Well, let's try to find out where we are.
You have a light?
No, Billy, no light, no ray gun either.
Did they take it away from you?
Well, I'm not sure. Might have fallen out of the holster, but it's gone.
I guess you don't have any such thing as a match.
No, nobody in the League of Planets has used matches for hundreds of years.
Well, how can we tell where we are if we can't see?
We'll just have to feel. Here, Pat, you take my left hand, Jane my right hand, and Billy, you hold Jane's hand.
What's the idea, Dantro?
You'll see in a minute.
What does Dantro hope to accomplish by this hand-clasping maneuver? Will it work? We'll be back in a moment. So, level off. When we left Dantro and his friends, they were dropped in a dark, lonely place by the dusters. Dantro is trying to find out where they are. Now he is directing Pat, Billy, and Jane in a hand-clasp maneuver in the dark.
Billy, walk as far as you can away from Jane without letting go of her hand.
Okay, now what?
Jane, keep hold of my hand and move away as far as you can. Billy, you keep moving.
Right. Okay.
Now, Pat, you move out the other way as far as you can. Now, take your other hand and see if either you, Pat, or you, Billy, can touch a wall or something.
I'm feeling on my side here.
How about you, Pat?
No.
Now, Billy, you stay where you are. Jane, you stay where you are. Pat and I will see if we can find the other wall.
There, I feel it.
Still there, Billy?
Yes.
Now, I wanted to be sure of that direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm measuring to see how wide this place is. Now I'm going to walk ahead and see if I can find the wall with the door in it.
I don't know whether it's better here in the dark or in the middle of the dust desert.
Personally, I'd be a little happier if we were back in Venusport.
Did you find the door, Dancer?
Yes, but it doesn't help much. It's locked or bolted on the outside.
Can we sit down or something? I'm tired.
No, I think that's a good idea, Billy. Let's go over where we left the cloth they wrapped us in. Better than sitting on this floor.
In here. Have you got any ideas, Danto?
Well, I'm pretty sure that the dusters mean us no harm. If they were going to hurt us, I think they'd have done it by now.
Makes sense. But you said yourself that the dusters couldn't be very intelligent. I just hope you're right. Here. Hey, what's the matter?
I hear something.
They're coming back.
What do we do?
Just sit here and wait.
Here they come.
Oh, he's taking my arm again. He's making me get up.
Me too.
Guess they're going to take us somewhere.
Well, just do what we've been doing. Don't resist them.
You're right, Pat. They're leading us out of the room.
Look, there's a light ahead of us.
We're heading toward it.
Doesn't look like daylight.
I wish these dusters could talk or make some kind of sound. They're so quiet, it's scary.
You don't sound very scared.
Well, I may not sound it, but I sure am.
Look, that light is very close.
What? Oh, would you look at that? It's a city. A whole city underground. It's cave-like. It must be 1,000 feet high.
Yes, and a mile across.
I can't believe my eyes.
And I said they couldn't be very intelligent. Look at those buildings, streets, and lights.
Yeah. Hey, where does the light come from?
I'm not sure. There doesn't seem to be any single source. It's almost as though the whole inside of the cave were glowing.
Maybe it's some kind of luminous paint.
Whatever it is, it's certainly not primitive.
And look, there are some little dusters, and those must be their mothers.
We're going up the street now. Look at the houses. They look funny without any roof.
They don't need roofs. The whole cave is a roof. They just need walls for privacy.
Hey, what's that coming?
Hey, it's a vehicle of some sort.
But it has no wheels. It's not even touching the ground.
Looks like a gravity sled, but I can't believe the dusters were science is that advanced.
We seem to be heading toward the middle of the city.
Yes, toward that big building.
Twice as big as any of ours.
It must be where their ruler lives.
Oh, that's a good guess, Pat.
Yeah. Hey, that's where we're headed.
This must be the throne room or something. Look at the size of it.
That must be the big shot over in that chair.
He doesn't look very important.
Be careful. Let me make the first move.
He hasn't moved since we came in.
He's just sitting, staring at us.
Why don't you try to talk to him, Danto? They must have some way of communicating with each other, or they couldn't develop as they have.
Oh, it's worth trying. What do you want with us?
No answer.
I'm afraid verbal communication's out anyway. After all, if they speak, they must have a language of their own.
Why don't you try sign language? You know, hand.
Right, Billy.
What's he looking at us for?
Danto, look how he's staring at Billy and Jane.
He makes me nervous. As long as he just sits there, I don't mind.
They must have had a reason for bringing us here.
He's certainly not showing it.
Here come the dusters that brought us in.
Hey, what's going on here? They're taking us out again.
I wish I knew. I guess there's nothing we can do but go along with them and wait and see.
What a strange situation for Danto, Pat, and the kids. What can the dusters possibly have in mind? How long will Danto wait to see what happens before he acts? We'll be back in a moment, but first, here is a message the Planet Man wants you to hear. Tune in again for more transcribed thrills and adventures. Rocket millions of light years into space with Danto, the Planet Man. The Planet Man. The Planet Man. This is the fascinating story of Danto, the Planet Man, troubleshooter for the League of Planets organization, the law enforcement body for peace and justice in the celestial world, whose headquarters and center of operations are situated on the capital of all the planets, Planaria Rex. From Mercury to Pluto, wherever danger threatens the universe, you will find Danto, the Planet Man, fighting for fair play. In a moment, the Planet Man. As you recall, our friends from Earth, Billy, Jane, Pat Darrow, and the Planet Man of Planaria Rex, were captured by the almost legendary dusters of Venus and carried off to a city in a cavern deep beneath the surface of the dust-covered planet. There they were brought before the grim leader of the dusters. Planet Man made a vain effort to communicate with him. When this failed, they were returned to their prison.
Here we are, back where we started from.
I don't know why they took us before their leader.
We just sat there. He hardly moved. He kept staring at you and me. He gave me the creep.
Well, he was much more interested in you two kids than he was in Pat or me.
Wish we didn't just have to sit here.
Look, I have a plan. If something doesn't happen by the time they return, we'll try to escape.
Escape? How?
What can we do?
When we hear them coming, Pat and I will stand on either side of the door. You and Jane stay out in the middle of the room and make some kind of noises to draw their attention. When they come in, we'll drop these cloths they left over their heads, and in the confusion, we may be able to get out of the door.
Hey, that's a good idea.
It may work. But if we do get away, we've got to stick together. One of us gets separated in the darkness of these tunnels, it will be almost impossible to find each other.
You couldn't get me away from the rest of you if you tried. Hey, I just thought of something.
What?
If it's dark, how do they find their way around? They must be able to see in the dark. Like a cat? After all, cats can find their way in the dark.
I don't think that's the answer.
Why not, Danto?
You look at their eyes?
Sure. When that guy took a look at me, I looked him right back in the eye.
They're like yours and mine, Billy, not like a cat's at all.
They sure know where they're going.
They must have some extra sense that we don't have.
Like a kind of built-in radar.
Something like that, Billy. They're coming back. Pat, grab one of those claws.
Right.
Billy, Jane, you know what you're supposed to do? Get over in the corner. Don't overdo it. It may make them suspicious.
We better hurry. They're right outside the door.
Ready?
Ready.
Billy, Jane?
We're ready. Over me home where the asteroids roll.
Billy, Jane, hurry, out the door!
I'm with you.
Pat, you all right?
I'm caught. Get away
I
yourself.
can't. They brought more with them this time.
Did the kids get away?
I think so.
I can still hear their footsteps running. Do you think they'll be all right?
I hope so.
Billy, where are you? Right here, Jane. Where's Danto and Pat? Didn't they follow us? I would have heard their footsteps. All I could hear were ours. Gee, I wonder if they got caught. I hope not. Oh, Billy, what are we going to do? Go the way we're going. I wonder where it leads. We'll find out.
I guess the kids got away. They'd be back here now if they were caught.
I'm worried about them, wandering around those tunnels in the dark all by themselves. I wish we could have gotten away, too.
Well, we had no way of knowing there would be so many dusters this time. It's not our fault.
Before, we were all together and I could watch out for them. Now there's nothing we can do but sit and wonder.
Oh, they're pretty smart kids. Look at the way they got out of that scrape with Marston.
They're smart, all right, but they're still only kids. I wonder where they are now.
Oh, we must have walked a mile. And I don't see any light.
Do you think we're in the passage that leads to the cave city?
I thought we were, but I'm not so sure.
Down here in the dark, you can't tell which way you're going. Oh, I wish we had a light or something.
Sure, I wish we had one too, but we haven't. We just have to get along in the dark.
Can't we rest a while? I'm getting awful tired.
I don't think we better, Jane. The dusters may be right behind us.
What are we going to do?
Just keep on going, I guess. That's all we can do.
What's the matter, Billy?
Stand back.
Listen, Billy. Billy, where are you? What's the matter?
What? Fell in a hole or something.
Are you all right?
I hurt my leg. Oh, I think maybe it's broken.
Is the hole very deep, Billy? Can I get down?
Don't try, Jane. You might get hurt, too.
What can I do? Shall I try and get help?
Just sit there for a minute and listen. Maybe if we're quiet, we can get some idea where we are.
Billy, if only there was something I could do.
For a moment it appeared that Billy and Jane may have escaped from the dusters, except that in the darkness, Billy has fallen and possibly broken his leg. What will Billy decide to do? We'll be back in a moment, so level up. When we left Billy and Jane, they were helpless in the dark tunnels of what seems to be the world of the Venusian dusters. Danto and Pat failed to get away in the attempted escape. We find them now still captives of the dusters.
How long do you think it's been, Pat, since the kids escaped?
It must be 2 hours. I wonder if they got away.
Perhaps they got into the cave city and hid there somewhere.
Maybe they've been captured.
No, if they'd been caught, I think the dusters would have brought them back here.
Maybe that's them coming now.
I don't think so, Pat. Their feet would sound differently on the rocks.
Maybe they're coming to take us to Billy and Jane.
Perhaps. We'll know in a minute. I guess we're going with them again. Maybe they are taking us to Billy and Jane.
Does your leg hurt very much, Billy?
Kind of numb now. If I don't move, it isn't too bad.
Maybe I ought to go for help, but I'm afraid if I leave you here in the dark, I won't be able to find my way back.
Don't worry about me. Why don't you go on by yourself? Maybe you can find your way out.
I'm not going to leave you, Billy.
Okay. There isn't much sense in both of us sitting here in the dark.
At least we're together.
Yeah, you're right about that. I wonder what's happening to Danto and Pat. And maybe they're looking for us.
I wish I could believe that, Billy, but I'm afraid they're right back in the cell. If they'd escaped with us, we'd have heard them. And I listened very carefully. No, Billy, I'm afraid it's just the two of us.